What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for October 25th, 2021. There is a lot of polish going into 3.15. 30k ship recovery is in the patch, and we had a video content this week. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I put all of the official Star Citizen news together into one video, throw some of my opinions in there as well. If you haven't yet, I do live stream on twitch.tv/SaltEMike every day but Monday so I can get this video out to you, so stop by and say hello. A lot of people have been doing that lately, and it feels really good. Another thing, I have a second channel now. It's like more of a react channel from my Twitch streams, so that will be at the top of the YouTube channel, so go ahead and check that out. Link will also be in the description down below. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into it. We had a patch note this week, and it was for 3.15N on the PTU. We are still in Wave 1, though. I'm not sure why this is happening and why they haven't moved to a larger audience. I imagine it's because they're still cramming the actual features of the patch in and are not ready for too many people slamming it. I have no idea, though. So 3.15 PTUN, we had an inventory polish pass where they updated the filtering, which is a little bit better, I'd say, but way better interaction dots for the ports for your magazines, grenades, medical things, med pen, stuff like that. And you could double click items into your inventory and onto your, not into your inventory, but from your inventory onto your character. They updated the law system. Most crime stat 1 crimes will now grant that crime stat 1, but you can pay a fine to remove them. So that's actually, I think, a big improvement. Downstate and medical passes, they updated the UI and increased the beacons from 10k to 15k. That's not going to make a difference of whether or not someone's going to take it. They disabled tractor beam and healing, drugging players at green zones. So this was a big thing when the patch went live initially, that people were just drugging everybody at landing zones, and now you can't do that anymore. This is why we can't have nice things, guys, because we're all just idiots. I mean, I saw that coming a mile away. I'm sure they did too, but maybe they just wanted to see how the community would handle it. Body dragging and mission updates, some body dragging polishing. Hopefully that's a little bit better because it is still pretty rough. And they made bunker mission intros shareable and other balance to delivery intro missions as well. But the bunker intro missions shareable is kind of a big deal because they're sometimes not that easy. Sometimes they're pretty busted. So it is good to have a friend nearby to pick you up if you go down. We had a patch watch this week where the last one we had, it kind of shared the 30k recovery thing. This time it is a first pass on shield variants, I think is the big thing to share here. So in case you didn't know, in 3.14, all of the ship components were acting exactly the same. Doesn't matter if you had a size 1, well, the sizes would all be different, but the grade and type. So military grade A was exactly the same as industrial grade D. Now, the type, so civilian competition and all that, are not supposed to be different, but the grade should matter. So the higher the grade, the better the performance. I do believe stealthy components are stealthy, though, so leave a comment down below. I don't think that this statement from the patch watch is entirely true, because stealth components, I do believe, are still stealthy. Toby gaze tracking. Now, I think this is really cool. You can look at a target and press a button to select them with a Toby Eye Tracker 5. It's really sick, but full clarity, I am sponsored by Toby. They sent me a Toby 5, and I will be participating in the Atmo Esports event, showing off the new feature coming up very soon, so I'm really excited for that. So yeah, just full clarity, though, that I am sponsored by them, but I do think the feature is really cool regardless of the sponsorship. Server crash ship recovery. This patch has been, I think, the biggest since 3.0 in my opinion, for the inventory and looting and all that stuff, medical, everything, right? But bugs that we've been dealing with for years are going to be way more painful because of these features that were added. So the fix to ship recovery after a server crash is quite impressive. Like, in so many ways, I'm glad they even decided to do it. So it's worked really well for me. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your experiences with it. Sometimes the ship will show as you need to claim it there is a note there that it could take up to 10 minutes to show up as retrievable, because I think that's how long the heartbeat is. So every 10 minutes or so, it's checking what your ship's inventory looks like and making sure it saves it. So yeah, keep an eye on that. That is super, super cool. I'm so happy it made it into the patch, because I was getting a little worried there. RSI Launcher update, they fixed an issue when updating the RSI Launcher, essentially. Then moving on to Roadmap Roundup. They have Squadron 42 dedicated character art teams. So similar to the Squadron 42 thing with the actor status and those type of features, they are focusing on character art and giving them an individual team as well. The Origin X1 simply just being added to the progress tracker in Q1 2022, probably due to some success with the sales from the 400i, since that is like the dedicated motorcycle that goes with it. Unannounced items that have been added to the progress tracker, the 400i and Raschar. And that is, in case you didn't know, it was announced at CitizenCon, and it's the tool that allows the teams to place structures on planets and make little towns or outposts and things like that. They're trying to sell it to us as we'll eventually get it, but I have a surprise for you. We're not getting it anytime soon. There's so much more that would have to go into this for us to use it. I wouldn't pay too much attention to the fact that, like, they're really trying to push it like, you're going to have this soon, guys. That's why this is so exciting, and create hype around a system that is really just an internal tool for them right now. Like, we don't have the Pioneer. We don't have, you know, things that will eventually make this a possibility. Is it very cool? Yes. Are they trying to hype it up by giving it to us way too early? Yes. So keep that in mind. Removed from the roadmap. This is the Apoa Santokai. I guess they just need a little bit more time with it. And we're just, I don't know. I don't think it really is that relevant of a ship for the game. I think they still need to work out that ship in particular, and ships like that in that class. I think the Santokai, correct me if I'm wrong, is like the Constellation and like the 400i, and I just don't think they have that big of a purpose in Star Citizen at the moment. Release few changes. They've added the 400i, speaking of that, and removed shops and patrons. That doesn't matter to me either, because the AI is still so unresponsive, it won't make a difference. Now, moving on to video updates, we had a Star Citizen Live this week. We're still without ISC for about 2 more weeks, I think, but we did get SCL, which is pretty cool. So they started out with, how are you going to deal with the drugging issues at landing zones? And here's the answer from the man himself.
If you've played the latest PTU patch, you will notice that we have disabled the use of the multi-tool tractor beam and the medical gun, and the dedicated medical gun, and the other med pens to be able to target other players. So
pretty simple and easy there. They'll likely come up with a more elegant solution in the future, but you know, for now, I think it's totally fine to just disable it at landing zones, because it was getting kind of ridiculous. Next, will we be able to share inventory with our party members in 3.15? So I think this answer is kind of disappointing.
We still have the placeholder solution of local inventory. So we didn't want to put loads of engineering time into a placeholder solution, which is the local inventory, which is the temporary bag of holding. So the answer is, going forward, absolutely yes. We want org members and other players to be able to access inventories and share things. With the current implementation of local inventory, the answer is no. So that is on a per person inventory. So if I go onto a ship and you're on, and it's your ship, Jared, I can open up the ship inventory and it will only be my ship inventory. And if you open up the ship inventory, it will only be your ship inventory. But local inventory, as I've said, I think on multiple ISCs and SCL Live before, local inventory is a placeholder solution until we have true physical inventory, which will be lockers, compartments, weapon racks, cargo hold, so on and so forth.
For me personally, this is the most disappointing thing to hear of all the 3.15 updates, because multi-crew ships are just that. They're multi-crew, right? They're for more than one player, so having access to an inventory for more than one player is kind of paramount for that. That said, I understand that this is a step towards the final piece of the puzzle, which is, like they said here, is physicalized inventory. So putting this up on the screen, it is currently set to complete in Q2 2022, and that's without any delays. So we have a long time with this kind of unfortunately broken system for multi-crew ships. subscriber items and other paid for items, what's the plan with them being looted now?
So specifically for 315, if you die or if you go into a down state and somebody loots those items or your ship blows up and you can't get back to those items, you will not have access to those items anymore. Whether the new player has stolen them or whether they've been vaporized, they are not removed from your account. So when 316 comes around and we re-entitle all the items, you will be re-entitled all those items. The intention long term is that we have a mechanism in the game that allows you to kind of associate yourself as a player inside the game with those items. And if those items are then stolen or taken or whatever, we will have a mechanism for you to be able to get those back. Now, I don't think it will be a simple matter of just an insurance claim where you just put the insurance claim and then you get it back, because there's lots of, first off, real life insurance is incredibly complex. So to mirror something like that, and lots of people do insurance fraud. So it's like I die and then I claim my insurance back and then I just go and loot my body and I'm duplicating items. So we might have a system where it's like that item is associated by me. I've registered that item if I've got a special weapon or whatever. And then if that person gets picked up by UE security or it comes into the hands of the law, then it's given back to you, similar to if my car got stolen.
Okay, I'll stop it right there. This is where people got really upset and all the outrage threads started. But as per usual, they didn't listen that well. A lot of times these devs come on these shows and are sharing things that have been discussed in like meetings and stuff, but aren't finalized. And this is clearly one of them. I heard a lot of mights, like we might have this thing, like that kind of stuff. Rich does clarify later in the post that that's basically what happened. There's a lot of discussion still going on. This is one of the solutions they've come up with, but there are going to be more solutions later on, and the shop is not off the table. The last thing is, if you die out in a random location, it's impossible to find your body. So are you guys going to add a marker for our bodies? Like, what's going on here?
We are trying to add it. So it's something that has been on the list for us to add. Obviously, these systems are quite complex. So there's been lots of bugs that we've been going through, and the engineering teams have been, trying to get as many bugs as they can fixed. It is still on. I actually got an update today from one of the engineers, and it is something that we want to do to try and help. It's basically the gravestone in other games, right? That you can go back and find it. Obviously, your body is still there. So if you do remember where you did die, then you should be able to go back and retrieve it.
So for me, this is an absolute must. I know there are a lot of bugs, like he mentioned in the game already, but if it's not added before live, I would be surprised and disappointed. If you create a beacon, people can find your body. Why are we not doing this for dead bodies? I don't understand why these things aren't automatic. Why is the system not working the same way as a beacon would? What is going on there? I mean, I would have definitely, if I was in Jared's seat or if I was in Jared's ear, I would have asked him to clarify a little bit more on that and go deeper into the why we don't have it now. But as usual, we just kind of get a loose answer and we'll see what happens in the future. Moving on to other updates, we had a Q&A from the Anvil Liberator, that is like the pocket carrier ship. I didn't see much to note here because it is a pretty simple ship. It carries ships. Other than that, I don't remember something like this being discussed before. Refueling and rearming from cargo space. So if you had fuel or if you had ammunition or if you had, I don't know, flares or something like that in your cargo space of the ship, there's a possibility of rearming and refueling from it. I don't know if this is a planned feature, when it's planned, or whatever, but it was mentioned, so I thought I'd share it with you guys because that's really interesting since it's not something that I don't think has ever really been discussed before. Then moving on to, we had a feedback thread on personal inventory tier 0. So give that feedback, guys. There's a lot wrong with the system. For me personally, it is the third-person camera. It is ridiculous. I'm so mind blown that this is a thing, that it was ever a thing. I gave my feedback months in advance I would have thought plenty of time to resolve the issue, but it is still there. It is horrible. So that's my feedback. What is yours? Leave a comment down below, but make sure you leave a comment on those threads as well. And lastly, the Neville lot lore. So Halloween themed lore. I hope you guys enjoy it. That's kind of where the mask comes from from the Halloween event this year and in years past. So thank you so much for watching, guys. That'll do it for this week's Week in Review. I had to throw it together real quick because we're running a little bit late today trying to get ready for work. So make sure you leave a comment, leave a like on this video, as that helps me out hugely, and make sure you check out the second channel. I'm going to be posting a lot of videos there this week. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next week.